Look at a sprouting plant next to a static piece of stone. It's obvious which one is alive. But if you have to scientifically prove it, things get complicated. The standard laws of chemistry and physics alone fail to explain the unique nature of life. To bridge that gap, we need a specific tool. We're going to build a life analysis framework, a step-by-step scientific profile that you can use to rigorously categorize any physical subject. Before we begin, grab a piece of paper or a notebook and pick a subject to test: a houseplant on your desk, your pet dog, or even yourself. By the end of this exercise, you will have the exact criteria a biologist uses to systematically prove the existence of life. Let's write down step 1, defining the scope. We need to identify exactly which primary branch of biology your chosen subject belongs to. The biological world is divided into 3 primary branches. If you picked an animal, write down zoology. For a plant, botany. And if you are examining microorganisms, note down microbiology. This image outlines specialized subdisciplines for our analysis. You might study cell biology for cells, histology for tissues, anatomy for gross structure, or physiology for function. Moving down the list, we require biochemistry for molecules, genetics for inheritance, and ecology for environmental interactions. Pinning down these fields up front establishes the tools required for the rest of your framework. Now move to step 2, the 7-point life checklist. To survive and function, a true organism must exhibit 7 specific characteristics. Let's run your subject through them. Point 1 is order and organization. Look at your subject. Lower-level components are arranged in a methodical pattern to build highly complex, efficient structures. In this textbook section is point 2, metabolism. This includes the breakdown of molecules, catabolic reactions, and the building of molecules, anabolic reactions. Continuing down is point 3, growth and development, defined as an irreversible increase in dry mass over the organism's lifespan. Next are points 4 and 5, irritability, responding to stimuli, and adaptation, developing traits like a camel's splayed feet for survival. Finally, reproduction to produce offspring, and heredity and evolution, passing genes to the next generation for gradual modification. Here is where the test gets strict. Non-living entities might check off one box. A physical crystal, for example, can grow. However, true life requires your subject to display all 7 of these characteristics simultaneously, or at some point during its life cycle. Verifying every item on this checklist is the ultimate scientific threshold. It separates biological life from a physical or chemical anomaly. Write down step 3, mapping the hierarchy. Sketch out a ladder with 11 distinct steps. We are going to plot exactly where your subject exists in the physical organization of the world. The basic unit is the cell, built from molecules and organelles. Moving up, cells form tissues, organs, organ systems, and the individual organism. Outside the subject, organisms form populations, communities, ecosystems, and the overarching biosphere. The organisms occupying this hierarchy range drastically in size. A single biological entity can be a microscopic single cell, or it can be a massive multicellular life form, like this giant sequoia towering over the people at its base. Identifying your subject's exact placement on this ladder communicates its internal structural complexity and its absolute dependency on the environmental levels above and below it. Because the hierarchy places your subject within a wider biosphere, step 4 identifies the specific environmental or biological pressures threatening that subject's existence. Severe environmental threats are driven by the overuse of natural resources. This leads directly to habitat loss, pollution, and, as seen here, total desertification. Beyond environmental changes, organisms face biological challenges. We have to engineer disease-resistant crops to maintain sustainable food production, and we must constantly combat the spread of devastating viral and communicable diseases across populations. Biology provides the tools for actively managing and solving these existential threats to the biosphere. Look down at your completed notebook. You now have a comprehensive 2-part scientific profile of your chosen subject. You established its primary branch, ran it through the 7 strict criteria to verify it is biologically alive, and mapped its precise structural architecture within the hierarchy of the natural world. Now that you have the framework, try applying it again. Pick a completely different microscopic subject, like a single-celled amoeba, and see exactly how its hierarchical mapping changes compared to your first subject. You have analyzed your world through the structured lens of a biologist, turning casual observation into a verifiable scientific record.